Hi guys, welcome to another edition of Football Heaven 24/7. I'm your host Jamie Carter. It's been about a week since I last came on, so it's been a long time. Well, to what I normally do. This week mainly it's been the Nations League. I'm not really interested in it. I don't suppose many people in the country are that interested. England have done absolutely shocking. They've not been getting battered, but they lost to Italy 1-0. It was pretty lame, and we've got Germany on Monday tomorrow. I think we could win it, but to be honest, it's not really that important. I think people are getting fed up with Gareth Southgate being England manager. Yeah, he got them to the semi-finals of the last World Cup and the final of the of Euro 2020. So you think that people would be happy with him, but it's the style of play that's boring fans now, and they're starting to realise that he really should be getting a lot more out of those players, because of the quality that they've shown. And he's also playing players through loyalty rather than the amount of games they've actually played for their teams. People like Luke Shaw, Maguire, people like that. He's playing them, and they haven't really been getting played for their teams. Those two obviously for Manchester United. So yeah, I can see people getting miffed by it all. Really, for me, watching an England game, um, is almost as bad as someone scratching their nails down a chalkboard most of the time for 24 hours straight, probably, or even just for an hour straight. So I'd probably rather listen to that than watch England because it's pretty shocking, you know what I mean? Even when they're getting results, the games are pretty bad to watch. But I've pretty much seen that for most of the last 30 years of watching England as a 40-odd-year-old man. So anyway, we're going to go into League One and League Two because I've had a bit of a waffle there on about that, but that's how it goes. Middle-aged rant. But anyway, League One yesterday on the Saturday on the 24th of September 2022. Uh, Barnsley was up against Charlton. Goals from Benson, Norwood, and Cole allowed them to beat Charlton Athletic 3-1, and that put Barnsley into the playoffs into fifth place. Bristol Rovers were then at home to Accrington Stanley, and they lost by a solitary goal to Pritchard. Um, so that wasn't great for Bristol Rovers. That keeps Bristol Rovers in the relegation zone. Also in the relegation zone, not far away from them, over in Nailsea, is Forest Green, who lost in the early lunchtime kickoff that was on Sky Sports between them and sort of localish rivals, West Country rivals, Exeter City. They lost 4-0 at home. Goals from Ndom Anombe, I can't even say his name, and 3 goals by Giovanni Brown. Got Exeter or the Grecians, whichever way you want to look at it, winning 4-0 there against Forest Green. So that's put Exeter had a great start to the season already. They're up near the playoffs. They're about 3 or 4 places off the playoffs now. So they've had a good start considering they're a newly promoted team. And then looking at the next game, Morecambe was up against Cambridge United. Cambridge United won thanks to goals from Lancaster and Nibs. And then Peterborough was playing against Port Vale, and Peterborough absolutely smashed them 3-0. 2 goals from Johnson Clark Harris, and one from Ward, who apparently had played something like over 200. I think that was like his 200th appearance for Peterborough, from what I heard. Then it was Sheffield Wednesday against Wickham. Also, another person celebrating an anniversary was, or a milestone, was Gareth Ainsworth, the Wycombe Wanderers manager. He was celebrating 10 years as manager of Wycombe Wanderers. As we know today, football is really fickle, much like a lot of society in a lot of ways. People come and go, people get sacked really easily these days in football. There's no longevity in it, and people wonder why teams go up and down and why things, don't get not that stable at a lot of clubs. And that's the reason. You've got to put faith into your teams. I mean, 2 teams I support, Forest and Scunthorpe, but going back, back in the day, obviously Forest, they had Brian Clough, their greatest manager, managing them from 1975 to 1993, and he only really stopped because of ill health. In the case of Brian Clough, and I mean, you look at what he won in all that time for Forest, and it shows that if you keep the same manager, it will pay off eventually. So, and the same with Scunthorpe. They in the 90s they had Brian Laws for a long time. He had a couple of spells. He left for a little while and came back again. But overall, he was manager for Scunthorpe for about 11 years, I believe, or something like that. So over 2 spells. So there's something to be said about longevity with managers, but we don't see much of it anymore. I think we need to go back to the old ways of doing things. I think we need to go back to capping wages in all the four professional divisions in English football. It's got way too greedy. Sponsorship, TV rights, it's gone over the top crazy. Okay, yeah, it might be profiting on one of my teams this season as far as the fact they've been able to bring in 22 new players, but really, I think it should go back to the old way because it was a lot better and a lot more competitive, and you didn't always know who was going to win the league every season. Even I suppose well, back in the day, I would say, but anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens. One day, hopefully, fan power will overtake it all and things will change. But I think the world's just going to get more greedy, if we're honest. But anyway, we'll go on to the next bit as I'm having another rant again. Going on to the last game well, not the last game, but the second to last game. Yes. Well, Sheffield Wednesday beat Wickham. They won 3-1. Own goal by Jacobson, Bannon, and Patterson, and a goal from Vokes for Wickham. So Gareth Ainsworth didn't really get to celebrate his 10th anniversary properly. Sheffield Wednesday won 3-1. That put Sheffield Wednesday into third place in the league. Anyway, but so a great result for them. And then Shrewsbury was playing against Burton Albion. Goals from Sadie and Bowman for Shrewsbury, and goals from Adebayo for Burton Albion. So, 2-1 to Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury's had a decent start as well. Shrewsbury are up there in ninth position, so they're having a good start to League One under Steve Cottrell. So, looking at the top of the table, Plymouth did win today, being Sunday as we're recording this. Plymouth won 2-1 against Ipswich in a top of the table clash, which means Plymouth go into top of the table now, and then you've got Ipswich and Portsmouth behind that. Sheffield Wednesday, Barnsley and Bolton make up the playoff places as well. So, top goal scorer is Johnson Clark-Harris for Peterborough. He got 2, obviously, yesterday. His top scorer with 7 goals. Just behind him with 6 goals is 3 players. Chaplin for Ipswich, Brown for Exeter, who got a hat-trick on Saturday, and Aaron Collins for Bristol Rovers. So that's what's going on at the top of the table. As I say, Plymouth are top now after Sunday's game. And as I say, Ipswich lying second. So going into League Two, there's a full thick round of games on pretty much. A couple of the games in League One did get called off, mainly because of players that have obviously been called up for internationals for the Nations League and that. But jumping into League Two, it was a top of the table clash, or near the top of the table clash, between Barrow and Leyton Orient. Leyton Orient were top of the league going into it, and Barrow were just lying in third place, but by the end of or second place. But by the end of the day, Leyton Orient still cemented their place at the top by 5 points by beating Barrow 2-0. Goals from Smith and another goal from El Missouri allowed Leyton Orient to win in that game. Bradford City was then playing Wimbledon. They went 1-0 up, but Wimbledon took a 2-1 lead. But then in the 95th minute, a goal from Oliver for Bradford got a 2-2 draw for Bradford City. Colchester lost 1-0 to Rochdale at home, having a really poor start to the season yet again, like they have done for the last couple of seasons. Crewe lost 2-1 to Mansfield. Doncaster Rovers continue their improving form, winning 4-1 against Crawley. Grimsby lost 2-1 against Swindon Town at home. Hartlepool drew 0-0 with Gillingham at home. Newport County drew 1-0 with Carlisle United. Northampton won 2-1 in the early kick-off against Stockport County. Stevenage beat Harrogate 1-0. Sutton United lost 2-1 to Salford City. And Walsall lost thanks to a 92nd minute goal from Tranmere. Tranmere won 1-0. So looking at the top of the table, League Two, as I say, Leyton Orient still top. They're 5 points clear of Northampton in second. In third, you've got Stevenage. And in the playoffs, you've got Barrow, Salford City, Mansfield Town, Bradford City. Just outside the playoffs, you've got Swindon, Doncaster Rovers and Grimsby Town. So top scorer in the league, still Hoskins for Northampton with 11 goals. He's had a great start to the season. Just behind him is Cook for Bradford City with 8. And Gordon for Barrow with 7. So, it's looking good. Like I say, Stevenage and Barrow are surpassing the expectations. Leyton Orient and Northampton are kind of expected to be up there, as they were sort of there or thereabouts last season. So, so quite interesting what's going on there. Bottom of the table for League Two, in the relegation places, you've got Rochdale and Hartlepool United. which one will go down out of those two. It's early days. I mean, we're only 10 games in for most of the teams. But yeah, it's early days. But what I'm going to do today, something what I don't normally do, just mainly because we've not got any Championship or Premier League on this weekend, I'm going to go into the conference and have a look at that, basically. So near me, I've got Dagenham, Redbridge, and I've got, well, even closer to me, I've got Hornchurch, who play in the Ishman League. So I'm just going to basically just go through the results from the non-league, probably like just National League and Division North and South. I think we'll just go with that. So yeah, going into the National League, Altrincham, there was in the relegation places, but they got a great win thanks to a goal from Colclough to win 1-0 against Aldershot Town. Bromley was playing at home to Oldham, who obviously came down with Scunthorpe from League Two last season. Oldham continued to have a bit of a faltering start, although they are lying in 15th after this defeat, but they lost 3-0 away at Bromley. Dagenham and Barnet was probably the entertainment factor. I was going to go to that game, but I didn't go in the end, which I'm a bit gutted about. Because Dagenham, they won a crazy game that finished 5-4. It started with Barnet being 2-0 up in that game. But as I say, Dagenham turned it around and they won 5-4, which places Dagenham in 12th in the table. Eastleigh then played Halifax Town. Eastleigh got a 1-0 win thanks to a goal from Carter on the 22nd minute. Gateshead won 1-0 away at Maidenhead in that game. Maidstone lost to Chesterfield 2-1 at home. Scunthorpe United came from 2-0 down, right down the bottom of the table. Really, really poor start to the season for Scunny. And they came from 2-0 down to win 3-2 thanks to goals in the second half from Lavery, Jacob Butterfield and George Taft in front of a crowd of 2,526. So only Scunny's second win of the season. I'm really chuffed about the way that they came back. Hopefully it's a springboard for them to move further up the table. I can't see us getting promoted, although it is early days, because in the conferences, I don't know if many people know, but only the top one goes up, and then it's a playoff system of 6 teams underneath that. It's a bit of a crazy one, to be honest. So really, you only get 2 teams go back up, but the playoff system is absolutely mental in that league. So in the relegation places in the National Conference, at the top of the National Conference, I should say, because of them winning 2-1 away, is still Chesterfield. Wrexham won 6-0 at home to Torquay. That keeps them in second. Notts County won 3-1 away at York City, and that kept them in third. Yeovil Town drew 1-1 with Boreham Wood at home. And in the final game of the National League at the weekend, Southampton won kind of a localish derby away at Wealdstone 1-0. So yeah, looking at the table, Chesterfield top, Wrexham in second in the playoff places, Notts County, Boreham Wood, Bromley, Solihull Moors and Woking, they all make up the playoff area at the moment. Just outside the playoff area is Wealdstone, York City and Barnet. So York have had a good start to the season, just getting promoted from the Division North last season. They've had a good start. My boy Scunthorpe, along with Forest, Scunthorpe, they've had a bad start. Obviously, we know Forest have had a bad start in the Prem. Not good. But anyway, looking at the top scorer, Macaulay Longstaff, absolutely quality player this season for Notts County. He got 2 goals at the weekend against York. He is still the top goal scorer in the National Conference with 12 goals. Just behind him, it's McShane for Dorking Wanderers, who he didn't get on the score sheet against Scunthorpe, but he's in second. And then you've got Paul Mullen and Ollie Palmer of Wrexham with 8 and 7 goals. So, yeah, I mean, as I say, it looks like it's going to be a fight between Chesterfield, Wrexham and Notts County at the moment for that title. It could change around as the time goes on, but I think Wrexham, those 3 teams have got really, really strong squads. They've proven it in the last few seasons in the National League, so it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. I'm going to just go through League Division North and League Division South. In League Division North, Kings Lynn are top of the table. In the playoff system, you've got Banbury United, AFC Fylde, Kidderminster Harriers, Darlington, Scarborough Athletic, and Leamington even. The results, AFC Fylde won 3-1 against Bradford Park Avenue. Telford United lost 2-1 to Boston United. Alfreton Town won 1-0 against Brackley Town. Banbury United beat Scarborough Athletic 2-1. Buxton drew 0-0 with Chester. Chorley beat Gloucester City 3-0. Curzon Ashton drew 1-0, 1-1 with Kings Lynn Town, who were top of the Division North. Darlington won 2-0 against Peterborough. Peterborough Sports even. Fars Athletic drew 2-0 with Spennymoor Town. Hereford beat Blythe Spartans 3-0. Kettering lost 3-0 against Kidderminster Harriers. Southport beat Leamington 1-0. So yeah, as I say, top of the table is Kings Lynn. In the relegation area at the moment, in the Division North, it's Farsley Celtic, Kettering Town, AFC Telford and Bradford Park Avenue. So that's how it stands, for Division North. Going into Division South, Ebbsfleet United are top of the Division South table. Ebbsfleet, they've had a great start to the season. They're undefeated after the first 9 games. They've won 9 games on the bounce. So yeah, they've had a great start to the season. They won 1-0 away to Hungerford Town. Braintree drew 1-0 with Slough. Cheshunt lost 4-3 in an epic game at home to Tonbridge Angels. Chippenham Town beat Dulwich Hamlet 2-1. Concord Rovers at Rangers even lost 4-2 to Eastbourne Borough at home. Dartford beat Hampton and Richmond 2-1. Farnborough lost to St Albans City 2-1. Hemel Hempstead Town drew 1-0 with Worthing. My mate Graham went to that one. And then we've got Oxford against Bath City, quite a local-ish kind of derby. Well, kind of local. They drew 3-3. Taunton drew 0-0 with Chelmsford City, another local team not far from me. Welling United beat drew with Havington Waterlooville. I can't even say it 2-2. And Weymouth lost 2-0 against Dover. So yeah, like I say, Ebbsfleet are top of the Division South. In the playoff places, you've got Havington Waterlooville, Worthing, Chelmsford City, Welling United, Bath City, and Tonbridge Angels in the playoffs at the moment. And at the bottom of the Division South is Hungerford Town, Dulwich Hamlet, Cheshunt, who got promoted from Hornchurch's League and actually beat Hornchurch in the playoff last year, in the Ishman League playoff. And then Weymouth at the bottom, right at the very bottom of National League Division South. I believe Weymouth got relegated from the National League last year, so they're having an absolute nightmare at the moment. I think they had a lot of financial difficulties. That's why Weymouth are down there. So yeah, that's my review of the non-leagues, just the top 3 divisions in the non-league pyramid system. Won't go any lower than that, but the National League team of the weekend, Lucas Coverton for Chesterfield was the goalkeeper for the team of the day, team of the weekend even. Omar Sawamni from Bromley in defence, Sean Hobson of Southend, Toby Malarkey of Altrincham were all the 3 defenders that were the stars of the show at the weekend. John Nugu from Eastleigh, James Daly from Woking, Greg Ollie from Gateshead, Quiven Castro from Notts County, and in the attacking positions and the team of the week, it was Josh Walker, Dagenham and Redbridge, who got a hat-trick in that game against Barnet, Paul Mullen of Wrexham, and Colin Lavery, who's just come in to Scunthorpe United. And the boss of the weekend, which I'm really happy about, is the Scunthorpe United boss, Tony Dawes. Great servant for Scunthorpe back in the 80s and 90s. And now he's the interim manager and hopefully gets the job. If he keeps producing the results he's doing, he should continue with it. So that's been my review of the weekend's action. League 1, League 2, and like I say, National League North and South. Have a great weekend, what's left of it. Also have a great week next week, and I hope the team does well. I'm going to do another episode after this one, just reviewing basically the week to come, and then do my predictions for the week and the week's action, leading from Monday's games tomorrow all the way through to next weekend's games, basically. So have a great week. All the best for now. Bye.